Not see him fighting?
I thought you used the brush.
He's battling for his life.
Dip finder should be in. Well, no,
Just in case I fall in, you're gonna film it, right?
You got some weight.
I gotta instruct these camera people different, you know, that you don't film stuff like that. You don't need to even bother turning it on unless we tell you we got a good one.
But we need bloopers.
Yeah, well, we're getting bloopers. This portion of Carolina Outdoor Adventures TV is brought to you in part by Catch 'em Up Baits, field staff tested, pro staff proven, by Buckbuster Scents, scents for the serious hunter, Quail Hollow Bird Farm, and also by Tulliver's Guide Service, specializing in trout fishing in Boone, North Carolina, and also by Humminbird, simply a better choice. Another small one. You're right, Alan. The cold front comes in. It seems like you catch a lot smaller fish, doesn't it?
Weather changes.
Weather changes and the small ones will bite, but the big ones won't. He's a little bit bigger. But not by much. Main thing is, guys, what we're catching them on, as we're catching them on this jig right here. That's a triad bait flip tail jig. Yellow white with a chartreuse tail. When we're fishing them in brush piles, and Alan wanted to try the brush piles a little bit this morning there before the wind got too bad. I think the wind's gotten to that point, but then we're going to fish some the shorelines. But that's what we're using, and we've got it with that triad bait structure rig. That's how we have it rigged, and it seems to be doing the trick this morning. Now I got to get back on the rod and never mind the camera because I'm too ahead of Alan right now, and that won't last very long.
We in the nursery.
We didn't tell you guys this was going to be a big fish show. There he is.
That's got some backbone on it.
Boy, we're in the fish. We just can't get the. Oh, this is a little bit bigger fish. We might have to keep him, Alan.
That's got a little backbone on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have. Yeah, we'll keep him, I think. Oh yeah. A little bit bigger. Get a couple fillets out of him. Put him in this one.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Oh, got doubles. There we go. You know when you're getting doubles like this, they're hitting good. There you go, Alan.
I knowed he was a good one. Jim got one too back there.
Yeah. Well, there was another good one there Alan just caught. We, I guess fishing on the brush piles was a good idea. We had doubles there. Mine wasn't as big, so I threw them back in before the camera got on it. But now there's another one. There we go. But they seem to be biting really good in this brush pile. It's going to be a small one, but we might pick off a big one now and then. Well, he's not bad. Well, he's not good either.
Like the other day.
Huh?
Like the other day I was down here, I was keeping them, I kept 32, but I bet you I caught close to 80 or 90 of them.
Right, yeah, a lot of them were small. Fish are still pretty cold, but we just had a cold front, minor cold front come through, but a serious storm yesterday evening. So it's kind of changed the way these fish are behaving a little bit. When that happens, usually you'll catch a lot of little fish, and the big ones just don't. You just got to work at the big ones harder to make them bite. But we're working at them, and I figure if we can pick off a big one now and then, by the time the day's out, we'll have a pretty good mess of fish. So we'll see what happens. That'll be a keeper. Now, he was on the back side of the buoy, Alan. Oh yeah. There we go. There's another one. Right there. As you can see from the last show we've used, guys, it's, come on. We haven't switched baits. We've been consistently using this one bait for the past couple of shows. It just works good for us. Now, these aren't really monster crappie compared to what we've caught here the last time we were down here filming, but like I say, we're in a cold front condition. And I got a friend that can't fish much anymore, and he asked me to bring him a dozen crappie, so we're going to do that for him today.
He ain't no monster. Maybe yours is bigger than my grandchild.
This is a time when you need to bring a young one out here, Alan, because if they can catch them like this, it don't matter. To them, it don't matter how big they are. It keeps them occupied. Sometimes...
Tomorrow I'm going to have 2 kids on the boat.
Tomorrow? Yeah. Really? Tomorrow be a good, it might be probably a better day.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't complain about today much at all. I'm going to let him go back. He's just...
At least the fan's blowing on us all day.
Yeah.
They got the fan on.
Yeah, it's not very hot.
No, good Lord turned the fan on for us today.
You know, to fish like this, guys, you don't have to spend a lot of money. I'm using a Zebco rod and reel now. Alan got me started back on these Zebco rod and reels. I've had a bunch that I've had around the house, and you know, to me it was a kid's rod. But that's all Alan fishes with when he does something like this. And you know what? I think I'm starting to enjoy it a little bit more because it's a little bit less complicated than even an open face. It holds all the line you need. You're not going to cast any further than what you're casting. And not only that, but you could pick up a rod and reel like this for your child if you want to take him out fishing. Fairly inexpensive at your box stores. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to come out here and enjoy a day fishing like this. You can use a float, minnows, and fish these brush piles or jigs like we are, and just bring your kids out and have a real good afternoon, a real good morning out fishing.
One reason I use these rod and reels is because you bring a lot of people out here that ain't fished much, and this is one of the simplest rod and reels that you can use, Zebco. And that's one reason I like, but I always like them anyway, but when you bring somebody out here that ain't fished much, ain't cast much, or use a cane pole and stuff, then anybody can use these. I always tell them, I said, throw it just like you're throwing a ball. When you get ready to throw a ball, then take your thumb off of it.
One thing you do is, after you throw, like oh, there's a fish on these brush piles. There's a fish.
Three weeks ago, I went and threw none of them back. They was all nice.
If you watch, guys, when I throw on this brush pile, we did a little Tuesday night tackle bites back here a couple weeks ago, and I tried to show and explain to you how we fish these brush piles. And when you throw out, you don't want to throw out and click your reel right off and wind, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to actually, when the line gets tight, you're going to be pulling that bait back over the brush pile and you're going to miss your target. So when your jig hits, keep your button down and just let out a little bit of line and watch that line. You'll know when it hits bottom, because that line will stop going down, and then start retrieving it real slow over the brush pile. Because a lot of guys will throw out and they'll instantly start reeling in, and what that does is it pulls your bait over the brush pile before you even get there, and there's a fish. Feels like a keeper. We'll see. Yeah. Looks like he might go home. Yeah, we'll take him. We'll take him today. Now, guys, you've seen a lot of posting probably on the social media sites. Guys catching these big crappies. Now, Lake High Rock typically is not a giant crappie lake. It's a numbers lake. I'm not saying that there's not big crappies in here. We've caught them. We've caught 1.5 pounds, Alan. You've caught 1.5 pounds crappies out of here. They're just not as frequent as some of the lakes maybe in South Carolina and down further south. But you're going to catch a lot like these, okay? And these eat just as good as the little bit bigger ones.
That brush or fish?
Fish, man. That's a brush. Not see him fighting?
I thought you used the brush.
He's battling for his life.
Dip finder should be in it. I'm trying to, I'm positioning the boat where you fishing more this time,
No, I hadn't noticed that yet.
You hadn't noticed that?
Well, as long as one of us will fish out. You fish on that side, the way the wind's blowing, or you can come back here with me. If the boat's going to stay like that, just get on one side and I'll get on the other.
Yeah, I'll be all right.
Well, I don't know about being all right part.
That's the reason they took the size limit off this lake and the creed limit, because
So many?
there's so many and they're trying to build the size up on the crappies.
Okay,
And,
okay. I wondered about that.
Yeah, this lake in Tuckertown, they took the size limit off of.
You wouldn't think Tuckertown you'd have that issue with all the flatheads and down there.
You wouldn't.
They eat them up.
You would think so. Tuckertown had the size limit put on their first of any of the Yak and Chain lakes, and then went along. It was Tuckertown. High Rock and Baden. But Baden got some good crappies in there, so they left the size limit and the creed limit the same. Yeah.
That's probably why they left and put a size limit on like Lake Norman and them lakes, because Lake Norman typically has a bigger size crappie more often than here. So just remember that when your DNR puts a limit on fish, it's for a reason, and it's to establish good quality fish. So they're trying to cull out a lot of the little ones and establish some good quality ones. So just remember that. Ah, there's the brush pile. That's the first time I've got hung up, everybody, since we've been out here. And another thing, like Alan says, these rod and reels, they come with 10-pound test line. Usually you can just pull on that, and there it is. And what happens is with that light wire hook, all you're going to do is, if you have to, we're using 10-pound test line, is you're going to pull that jig off from there and bend that hook, that wire, just a little bit. Well, I bent it a lot, more than just a little bit, but you can just bend that back with your thumb and you're ready to go. And that's a whole lot better than tying on a bunch of jigs. I hate it, tying on jigs, but if you use that system that Alan shows you, that triad bait structure rig, and I'm going to show it to you again. I know you've seen it. Somebody might have not seen this show. All Alan does is you come through your jig with that first, you come through your bait, that first head, and pull it all the way up to the lead, your jig head, okay? And we don't have barbs on here, and the reason for that is it'll tear up this fleshy part, the plastic on the bait. And then all you do is you come through here. And I'm going to change this bait now because I used this bait the last show. And you just come through there like that. And basically, let me see if I can get a better look for you there. Basically, that's what you have. Well, not going to be. Basically, that's what you have, guys, okay? And I'm having trouble holding this on because this thing has been beat up so many times. And that protects the hook from getting caught up in the brush. So I'm going to change this and get back fishing. Now, like I say, we did a show here a couple weeks ago and I used this same rig all day long. And I got hung up a couple times, and all I had to do with that 10-pound test line is just put steady pressure on it and bend the wire and pull it out. Staying in water like this, we're fishing 14 feet, 15 feet deep. We're staying in water like this, the fish aren't going to see the line anyway, so it doesn't really matter. There's a keeper. Well, would you keep a fish that size? Nah, huh? I don't know, I guess Larry will clean them that size. Don't need many more. Whoa! Don't need many more like that. Alright. Where'd the buoy go?
Right behind the boat.
Oh yeah, buoy's right here. That's pretty good. Don't need a cast, I just fish right here.
I've caught them like that before, digging up and down the brush pile.
That's about how I caught him, because it was right close to the boat. There he is, right there. There he is, doubles. Doubling up on him there, guys. Oh yeah. Yeah. You don't have to film Alan's, you can film mine though. Mine's a little bit bigger. Not much, but normally I wouldn't keep them, and I usually don't fill requests, but I have a friend that can't, like I said, can't fish anymore, and he requested me bring him a few crappies to eat, so we're going to fill the order, I guess.
Oh yeah.
You can see I'm just pulling out a little bit of line, guys, because when I cast it, I want that. I know where the brush pile's at, and I want that jig to fall straight down in that brush pile. That last one I caught him just fishing right over the brush pile, see, and there he is. So just, you know, when your jig hits the water, just pan out line, that's all. How he got off. I'm glad he did, because he wasn't very big.
Saved you the trouble, didn't it?
The only other thing using this system is I find is that if you do it what I call the old-fashioned way, when you put your jig on there and the hook sticks out the back like so, you don't have to set the hook as much, but you're going to get hung up a whole lot more. The only other thing when you do it this way, you might have to just set the hook a little bit. You know that I've got the hook like you would bury the hook in a bass bait when you bass fishing, and so it's just barely coming out the other side. And you don't have to set the hook much, but when you're fishing with this, what we call the triad bait structure rig, you want to make sure that you set the hook a little bit, and that's the only real difference.
Hold on that one.
A couple of mine were the same way. I just didn't even feel them really hit. They're just there. They're feeding, but it seems like a lot of little ones.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get a
Cold front.
weather change. It don't necessarily have to be a cold front. It's a weather change. Cold fronts is the worst. Wind's blowing out of northwest. I wonder how come it wouldn't sink.
Catching the heck out of them up there.
This might go in the box. Oh, you want nothing?
Yeah.
I tell you what, you just throw on a brush pile and just let it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Hit
good.
the brush pile.
That's a good one there.
They're sitting in the brush pile.
I'll have this one in the box.
Holding tight. A little bit bigger fish, isn't he? Oh yeah. Picture, that's a nice one, Alan. About darn time. I guess there was a big one in there, wasn't there?
Well, you know what? Where the baby's at, the mama's got to be close by. Or the daddy.
Anyhow. Right. Well, it's been a good day out here, everybody. We're going to head back in, which seems like the fishing has slowed down a little bit. We're catching a lot of small ones, and Alan wants to try fishing on the bank a little bit, and we'll see what happens then. Maybe we'll be able to get another show before we get out of here. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Like I said, coming out here crappie fishing on Lake High Rock. You know, Lake High Rock is one of the lakes on this Yadkin River chain of lakes here that really produces a lot of numbers in fish. And if you want to come over here and just spend the day, you ought to be able to do it and not work very hard. Find you some brush pile and find you some structure to catch fish. It's a great lake for shooting docks, so you may want to try that. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in today and watching the show. I want to thank my buddy Alan Greer here for taking us out again.
My pleasure.
Triad Bait and Tackle. Check out their website. We'll put up the website address here at the bottom of the screen. And also, don't forget Triad Bait Guide Service. If you're not sure about the lake and where to fish, just come on down here, you know, and give Alan a call. Come on down here and jump on the boat with this man and fish with him for 4 hours, and he'll put you on some crappie. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks a lot, Alan. Folks, we'll catch you somewhere next week in the great outdoors when we do it all again. Thanks for watching.